What's up, nerds? It's me. It's Tyler, and I'm joined by Kale. Right? It's Kale.
Last time I checked, yeah,
Okay,
I might,
that's good.
we might look again, but
Okay.
what's up, hot dogs, etc.
I almost said "What's up, hot dog" to start the show because we just mentioned it before I went live, but I realized I didn't want to steal your thunder.
Listen, maybe you should have try it on.
What's up, hot dog?
Quite.
No, didn't hit. There's a hot dog right now at Disneyland that's really an eclair that's split open with chocolate filling to look like a hot dog with icing on it. It's a dessert dog.
Huh.
It comes with
Interesting.
sugar cookie fries. I kind of want it, but it's one of those things.
Sugar cookie
Yeah.
fries.
Guys, we're here for Pals Pulls. Yes, Joel, I am repping Kenny Omega. Yeah, I watched the Blood and Guts match last. I watched it today. That happened last. But yeah, welcome to Pals Pulls. This is a show where we talk about comic books.
You
But
would know
this
it.
one we actually talk about comic books and not
Actually, talk about
yeah, not strikes and unions
Movies.
and movies and all the stuff that doesn't matter unless you care about workers' rights. And
that stuff matters. We're not here to talk about it.
no, we're here to talk about the stuff that doesn't really matter. A whole bunch of pieces of paper with art and words on it.
Yeah.
But I don't have paper because I read digitally. So oops.
Ugh.
But we have 6 books.
Count 'em?
6. All right, we'll go through these. Blade
Y'all
number
killed-
1.
Y'all killed me this week.
Yeah, it was a rough one this week. In terms of sheer numbers, because I had to catch up to other books too, so I had more. Blade number 1, X-Men Red numero 13, A Vicious Circle number 2, after 7 months. Naruto, The Whorl Within the Spiral. It's just a one shot. We're doing a little dip into the manga today. Big Game number 1 from Image.
Excuse me.
Big Game. Yeah, Big Game. This is a little gay. That's
I think I read a different book.
Oh, well, you got to stop reading Marco's manhwa. Is that how you pronounce it? Mawa? What's the Korean manga?
That's the Korean one, yeah.
Yeah.
Manhwa.
Well, we're gonna talk about your Whatcha Reading later. So, and then Void Arrivals number 2. So a whole bunch of books this week. But if you enjoy what we do here, as I'm fighting a sneeze that just will not come, but we'll see what happens. If you like what we do here, support us on Patreon. On Patreon, you get a couple things. Patreon's got a new episode of Palin' Around, which is a whole separate show, a third show, where we talk about whatever the hell we want.
And listen, it's not this month's episode, but the next one that's coming out, I've got a doozy of a story coming out.
I was not able to be on that one, so I watched it. So it was fun. It was a fun listen watch. Jordy, can you get down, please? Thank you, buddy. So yeah, check that out. The one that just came out today, we talked about what are our lifelines in life, and yes, I made a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire joke on it, so expect that on the show. You get on audio, you get on video, and you also get newsletters. Marco just put out Marco's Muck Hole, another iteration of his Muck Hole, today or yesterday, I forget what it was. So Marco just talks about stuff. He always be reading the Swamp Thing, so he likes to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know what to talk about next week. Next week is my newsletter, and I got nothing. So if y'all have some ideas,
you can use it as therapy.
Love to hear them.
Just be your open therapy there.
It's too deep.
Too deep. All right, too deep. Well, support us there. And if you want to follow us on any of the socials, they're right above my big head. So we got YouTube. Sub to us on YouTube, Twitter, for now, Patreon, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. We're also on Threads because we are cutting edge. You on Threads yet, Kel?
Hell no.
No, not a fan.
Interested.
Not a fan of supporting a different billionaire.
Oh, look, they already have all the information.
Fair.
They don't need what they can get from me on Threads.
You ever wonder what Tom from MySpace is up to?
I have to imagine just living his life.
True.
Okay.
Kel.
Murphy says Shin Kamen Rider drops tomorrow. I forgot about that. That's what I'll be doing for my newsletter.
There you go. Matthew Murphy helping out the show. Yeah. So Sean is too busy getting blown up during the movies while he watches Oppenheimer. Sorry, I had a bit of a sniffle there. Poor timing. But Sean is at Oppenheimer, so he's not here, and Marco is feeling the weight of capitalism. But me and Kel here to talk about these books. And first up is Blade #1. So this is by Brian Edward Hill. Can we say friend of the show? He's been on the show before, right?
He's been on the show. What easily, probably my favorite interview. It's the one that I think about the most.
I was not on the show at that point.
Right.
And I loved that episode. It was a very, very good episode. So yeah,
Yes.
written by Brian Edward Hill, art by Elena Casagrande, colorist Jordi Belair, and letterer Joe Sabino. It's been a while since Blade has had an ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a new ongoing too. Yeah. So most of the time you pick up a new Blade book and it's like, all right, let's check out this fun little miniseries. But no, he's got an ongoing, and it feels weird. Because
Interesting.
What's up?
Say more.
It feels weird because I feel like there should be something else accompanying this in terms of corporate synergy that is nowhere to be seen.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you were going to talk about the books, which we're here to
We'll
talk
get
about.
there.
Not
We'll get there. But like this feels like the Marvel kind of reintroducing us to the character of Blade. He has been an Avenger for the past couple years. In Jason Aaron's run. Honestly, kind of one of the better parts of that run too.
It's a weird hook that sort of makes sense. It's got that novelty of Wolverine being on the Avengers.
Yeah, it very much did.
How well he pulled it off, I don't know.
But
I like it.
There was
I like the idea of it.
There's some loose threads that I don't think were ever really tied up there. But Blade is back with a new ongoing. Elena Casagrande on art. She worked with Kelly Thompson, who we also interviewed, during their Black Widow run. So I was really excited to see Casagrande on that. So yeah, I picked this up. I do love the whole monster side of the Marvel universe. I'm a big, I like a man thing. I like a werewolf by night. Hey, that's for palling around, buddy. Yeah, I like werewolf by night. I like all the vampires. That stuff it's nerdy. You can get into like the kind of Kirby-esque monsters too, on this section of the Marvel universe. So it's nice to, I guess, go back there. But I gotta say, I was kind of left wanting with this issue.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is my pick of the week.
Interesting. Okay, why?
I had a hell of a time with this book. Because I think when I think it is gonna pivot, it swerves.
There were a couple of twists here.
Yeah.
And a lot of twists for a first issue.
Well, and I think that's what works about it. I really think that Hill knows how to hook. And it doesn't feel like an Image first issue, Listen, it's a Blade title. You're gonna show up.
It hits the ground running and just does not stop the entire issue.
Yeah.
It's a very, very fast book. And what I say I was left wanting, I don't think it's the writing actually where I was left wanting.
Interesting.
Brian Hill has a great voice for Blade. Blade is, what is my cat screaming about right now? That's probably audible too. Blade is kind of a hard ass. He kind of feels like almost like a Western character. Never in a Western setting. He's always this, outsider that comes in and has to, do something. He never really feels at home anywhere. And I think I like that about the character. Jason Aaron actually made him a sheriff in the Avengers run for the Vampire World, which is in like Chernobyl or something. That's not touched upon here. But Brian Hill has a good voice for Blade. He's not overly talky. It's fine. He's kind of like just this mercenary or this guy who does tasks for the underworld. But for me, go ahead.
Well, I just want to push back slightly on the overly talky bit. I didn't think he was overly talky, but there's the point where he gets a hold of the girl, the MacGuffin, and uh he he presses her, he's like, look, I don't know why I'm after you. I don't know why these people are after you. You got to tell me. She's like, I don't know. And he's like, no, come on. She's like, I don't know. And he goes, no, you better tell me. And she goes, look, I told you, I don't know. And he's like, come on.
That's a whole page
I
right
was
there.
a bit like, okay, come on. We're spinning just a little bit here.
I did like the conceit that this is a very tropey first issue that gets kind of, they do the trope of you know what's the word I'm looking for here, this guy has to do this job and he takes in this young girl, and she can't really handle herself, and killers are after him, they don't know what's going on, and they do all of that in one issue. That could have been a miniseries for Blade, a decade ago. They do all that one issue, and it does not end the way you expect. And I enjoyed that aspect of it. My issue was like, so I guess I'm probably going to be unfair here. I'll be honest. Elena Casagrande, I think, is a tremendous artist. The art here is very good. But compared to her work on Black Widow, the panel layouts are kind of basic, kind of straightforward. There's a couple fight scenes in this book, and the stuff she did in Black Widow was insane. Like showing movement in multiple instances of Black Widow, almost like who's the artist on Nightwing right now? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. Bruno Redondo. Yeah, Bruno Redondo kind of does something similar in his run. I was kind of expecting something like that. And maybe we're just not getting it in the first issue. Maybe it's like, all right, we'll get something a little more innovative later on. But this one was like, all right, this is kind of by the numbers a bit.
Handling wise. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
There's I thought the page where you see the girl shift, Dana, I think is her name. You see her shift into the bad guy. They use her face is in the center of the of the page, and it the first half looks like her normal face, but then the right half, like it is a subtle change, but she's like smiling on the right half, and it's like, well, hold on a second.
And that could just
it worked really well.
That could just be playing with, and if this is the case, then call me wrong, but it could be the case that like the beginning of this book is tropey, and it's very kind of what we've seen before already, and it's not until that twist that we're like, oh, okay, something's different going on here, and maybe the art was following suit, and paneling was following suit.
Yeah, that could be.
I also could be reading into that as well. I will say the Jordy Blair colors, the way digital coloring and digital art can handle light is something that you couldn't. I don't think I've ever really seen like pre-digital. Like I have one of the pages up right now. There's a couple instances here where light is used because it's a vampire book. Of course it would be. But there's a scene where Blade's looking at someone's phone in a dark room and it lights up. It almost looks like neon coming off the screen, like or page, if you so have it. I thought that was very interesting because I can't remember something used that brightly before. Like it felt like I turned the brightness up on my iPad.
Yeah.
So there's something digital art can do a little different than traditional art, or at least maybe not as easily, or much easier than traditional art.
Yeah, that's probably true. Do vampires feel all light, or is it just sunlight?
I thought it was just sunlight. So there's a scene where Blade, drives a car into a nightclub, and the high beams, I guess, cause the vampires. Unless there's like do you think Blade drives a UV light headlight car?
Okay.
That track.
That answers that.
I was like, oh, Blade must have a a tricked out car with UV light.
I was- yeah.
A Blade Mobile.
I also definitely had the thought while I was reading this. Oh, his swords are definitely silver.
It had to be. Had to be. Yeah.
Have to be.
Yeah. So maybe I was a little harsh on this, but I did enjoy it. Not my pick of the week, but I enjoyed it.
I think had it ended where
Mm-hmm.
she Dana, walks off off the beach or whatever.
Quite literally pulls her flesh off. Yeah.
Well,
Very
that was
like
wild. That was
Hellraiser
wild.
type style thing. Yeah.
And Blade is left for dead or whatever. If it had ended there, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But then it shows like there's an extra scene where Blade is being tortured, and somebody rescues him, and they agree to go after this demon that was Dana. Um, and that really sold it for me. It felt like just a little extra cherry on top. That really, really worked.
That's the call to action, and I think that's the hook that you need
Yeah, I think so.
to get you to issue 2. I'm cool with Blade having an ongoing. I love this section of the Marvel universe, so I will be definitely picking up issue 2.
I hope, at least in this case, that Marvel is sort of paying attention to the horror trend that's going on right now. They might be a little late to it, but it seems like, there's more horror stuff coming out.
They have stuff planned for October too. Yeah.
Yeah, and if Blade is, the flagship book for the horror line, I'm totally down with that.
Yeah, could be pretty cool. But next up we have the listener pick with X-Men Red number 13. This is by the team of Al Ewing on writing, artist Jacobo Camagni, colorist Federico Blee, letterers by Ariana Mayer. I had to read 12 and 13. Because I just
Good.
didn't.
Then you can refresh me on what happened in 12.
12 was the whole white sword, the gifting of the white sword to. I don't know this guy. I keep forgetting this guy's name. I keep thinking his name is Jeremy Irons. It's not Jeremy Irons, but you know who I'm talking about. The horned guy. It's all about the white sword and him. Genesis attacking his tower and stuff like that. Then 13 is the aftermath of that. I might have had to read 11 too. I'm a little confused as to what I had to read, but there was some catching up for me here. I think it's a little weird that concurrently in Immortal X-Men and X-Men Red, we have 2 talk at the council issues, or that's everything that happens. Of course, the Iraqi people there's going to be a little more fisticuffs going on. But it's kind of the same thing for different reasons in terms of a top-down perspective of what's happening. Let's do some politics here.
I guess, but I think the thing with Red here is that really we don't care about any of these council members.
I disagree. I actually really like these guys.
One of them is literally an axolotl.
And he's one of my favorites.
Listen, I like axolotl. And I like the giant eyeball. And I like the skeleton with a bag over her head. But be real with me. Who cares?
Yo, no. So
it's
Bernard
not
of the
Kitty.
Depths.
It's not Mystique. It's not Destiny. There's no heat with this council.
See, I'm on the side of Al Ewing has made me remember the names of these characters who are nobody. They're new characters for this. These are Iraqi. They're not X-Men. Remember the names of them and enjoy who they are. I think what happened with X-Men Red during Judgment Day with Uranus. What's Uranus? Uranus. That and the aftermath of that with like Lotus and Lakatuka and Sobanar. Like I'm really enjoying them. It feels very much high sci-fi for me, and it feels distinctly different than what's going on in all the other X-Men stuff. Then also you got like Storm in it. You know, you got a little bit of Cannonball. Not Cannonball, Sunfire. Got them mixed up. So I'm enjoying that. I like the characters here. I like how um, they're trying to change who they are, and that's what this issue is about. It's about their old leader coming back to reclaim her throne, and shaming them for the growth they've made to be a little more civilized.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see like who crumbles at that and who tries to fight against that, you know, and why.
What what did you get out of all that? Because I don't have a relationship with these characters other than Storm.
Other than they exist, yeah.
And
Um,
barely that.
I thought it's cool. It felt like a bit of like a schism. You know, I like a good schism story where you know the same team is split in half, and you know they're gonna have to fight each other. And with the Iraqi, it could be to the death. You know, it gets
will be to the death.
teased, you know, in this, and then it kind of separates. But yeah, I just like these characters a lot. I think for me, the X-Men Red stuff with what Ewing has been doing as like a very large ensemble cast, because all the characters I named, it's just the council. That doesn't even consider like Nova and the Fisher King and all those guys. Like there's almost a whole separate cast as well. And it's not a team book either. It's distinctly an ensemble world book, and I really just like the world that Ewing's building in it. And I think the who was the artist again? It was Jacopo Camagni. Dan did a pretty cool job on this. I think some of the backgrounds are a little sparse. I have one up here of Genesis, kind of
Sparse.
Yeah, there's nothing there. It's just, I mean, but to be fair, I guess it would just be space. Well, there's an extra one. So got my wordplay there. Yeah, it's just like empty space, which is fine. But I just feel like a lot of these kind of European artists that Marvel is getting can do good character work and do some fun action, but detailing leaves some room to grow. Like we're gonna talk about like Pepe Larraz later. That's just next level. Like this is good. The art's good, but it just seems like it's like they gotta just churn it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all in all, I think I enjoyed the issue, and I think this is my favorite X-Men book coming out right now. And I flip flop too much on Immortal for it to be that.
Well, that's probably true, but I think I'm back on the Immortal train.
You're on the Gillen boat.
I think I'm back on. It's not quite sinking. I think we got enough water out with our buckets to, stay afloat or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Do you listen to Rude Tales of Magic?
I don't even know what that is.
D&D podcast. I think you'd really like it. But they have a Star Trek spin-off podcast that it's an actual play one. And Ryan North guest starred this week.
Cool.
And he did a character that is a time traveler, but he very much talks like this the whole time, and that's his character trait. And that's the voice I heard for the two-headed dog guy.
I like him. He's new. What's his name? I wrote that down. His name is Lycan Two Wolves. Lycan Two Wolves or something.
Lycaon the Balanced One.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, no, weird two-headed wolf man character.
Sure.
Again, but I think that's where you can have fun with these designs. I have an issue though. My issue is that this whole thing that's controlling Genesis, or we don't even know if it's controlling her. It was the Helm of Annihilation, and it's now the Staff of Annihilation. And it can kind of subtly influence people by speaking. I don't whenever I hear Annihilation, I just think Annihilation Wave. Like, I
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
just the wrong name for it. It keeps throwing me off, and that's just because I have too much of a Marvel encyclopedia in here, so I try to
Yeah. I
connect
hear you.
things that maybe shouldn't be connected.
I feel like the way the Annihilation Helm was influencing people was maybe a little too subtle. I I think I got what Al was going for, but I don't think it was totally clear. So it seemed like the helmet, the staff, whatever, would repeat sort of the last thing or the last important thing that Genesis says to sort of sway whoever it's pointing at.
Yeah.
And it just like it sort of took a minute, and I don't feel like the reactions of the council members were quite strong enough to show that that's what was happening. And maybe that's on purpose.
Yeah, I thought
Uh
it varied between people. Like the
yeah.
axolotl, like he rumbled pretty much at
Yeah.
the first mention of it, and like Storm was missing, her lightning bolt, and Jeremy Irons missed, his slash or whatever, which is like how I play D&D. I just miss everything.
Mhm.
Um, so I thought it was more of that. Like I just liked how it kind of varied between people. Do we know if that staff is influencing Genesis as well?
I think that's the implication
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the last issue we
yeah.
read.
Okay.
Because I think that's why she and Apocalypse break up, is because she
Yes, 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 yes.
didn't want to go to war, or Apocalypse didn't want her to go to war, and maybe she didn't want to, but then the Helm said, "No, do it anyway."
Yep. Okay.
And
I remember that.
she never really makes a firm decision.
That Fall of X one shot we read.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I mean, this is a pull for me because I'm enjoying the series. So, um, we'll see where it goes. I'd like to see more Jeremy Irons. So
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm talking about what's his face, John Ironfire. I just keep reading Jeremy Irons instead.
Oh, the Knight of 100 Feathers or whatever
Yeah,
the fuck
the
his
the
name is.
horn guy who has the
Okay.
sword. Yeah.
All right.
I just
Wasn't
keep
he
reading.
in the future?
He was in Sins of Sinister. Yeah. But yeah, polar pass for you on this.
I think this is probably a pass for me. It wasn't bad, but there wasn't enough to really hold my attention. And I'm a lot more interested in the things that are happening on Krakoa at the moment. I like knowing that Genesis is here, though. So if I were to sort of backtrack and work my way around the preamble of whatever, havoc she's gonna wreak, um, this would be fine.
All right, and then the next book we're talking about is a book 7 months in the making. It kind of looked like it with the art. A Vicious Circle, number 2. Last one we read was sheesh, that was December, I think. It was like the
That
last
long
Pals
ago.
polls
Wow.
before like our best of.
Jeez.
And I think this made Sean's best of. It's also the first issue got nominated for like Eisner's and stuff, so we'll see what happens this weekend for it. This is by the team of Mattson Tomlin, who is currently writing or wrote the sequel to the Batman and wrote the Batman as well.
Yeah.
With art by Lee Bermejo, colors by Grant Gouache, and letters by Becca Carey.
Now I didn't pick this up.
Yeah.
Because this book was $10, $8.99 on Comixology, and I said, actually, no, thank you.
I felt wrong buying this digitally.
Yeah.
Not for the price. Yeah, it's only 48. It's 48 pages, so it's not like. This is where I feel wrong because it is oversized in terms of the physical. It's you remember Batman Damned, the big, almost square paper.
Yeah.
That Bermejo did.
The magazine format.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
that. That's the format of
Okay.
it. So you get your money's worth, I think, in terms of the visual experience from getting it in physically. But digitally, it's the same shit. It's the size of my
Yeah.
iPad. It's the size of how far I pinch and zoom. So that
Yeah.
doesn't matter. And there's always an issue, I think, with the pricing between physical and digital, and
Yeah.
why it has
Marco
to be the
told
same.
Marco told me to buy it. He said one, support the creator, but the first issue was such fire uh that this book probably would make like book of the year or something. And I said, if this book isn't going to cure my mental health, I'm not paying $10 for it.
And I gotta say, it probably won't. It is a visual uh romp. The whole premise is that there's these two guys from the future, and this issue actually explains the premise. We got introduced to the premise in the first issue. No real explanation. It was more of an extended chase sequence with people going through different periods of time. This we get the backstory where they were pretty much agents in the future. They go to this time bomb. Something wrong happens where they kill each other in front of it, and now whenever they kill someone, they get sent somewhere else in time, and they jump all over the place. And every time period has it's all Bermejo art, but it's different stylistically. So the first issue, the first story that we get into in here is where we left off in the first issue, where we're in like prehistoric time. It's our main character, who I don't know the character's name. I'm sorry, but him, fighting dinosaurs and
I
stuff.
gotta say, that's not worth $10 to me. If you can't even tell me what the main character's name
I
is,
can't. I can't.
it's not worth $10.
He might not have one. So, but
I didn't even read it. I think it might be like Talon Shark or something.
let's see. I'm reading the solicitation right now. It doesn't mention Thacker. Thacker.
Okay. All right.
I don't remember seeing that word in this issue once.
Not
which
great.
which is my issue with this book. This feels like it's a 3-issue mini. It should not have been released in singles. I think this would have been this feels better off as a book. Give me an oversized book with Bermejo art. Worked with the Joker. Why not this? It's gorgeous. I cannot express how good the Bermejo art is. It's insanely good. There are different, time periods. We jump into the far future. We jump into prehistoric times where he gets attacked by a bunch of prehistoric rats and they tear him apart. And honestly, kind of rat slander. And I don't really appreciate that. But it's fine. Prehistoric rats. I'll let it slide. I'm pro rat on this show. But it felt very much like Peter Jackson, King Kong era dinosaurs. Nothing scientifically accurate, but really cool to look at.
Right.
And there's some cool panel working, and I have it on the stream right now, of dinosaur teeth forming the panels for like a dinosaur chase sequence. Which I don't know if it's good, but it's cute. Do you know what I mean? Like I appreciate it. But then we jump into Nazi Germany with a great splash page of Hitler just getting his brains blown out. And then we jump into like 1950, I believe. That's the next time period. And our main character is black. So we kind of has to kind of juggle with being in Nazi Germany. Like they see him right away and they're like, yo, no, we need to get that dude. And he's like, oh shit. And then once they go back into the future after Hitler gets killed, he's in the 1950s and everything's great. Nobody even knows who Hitler is. He never made the history books at this point. So then the moral crisis of like, why don't I just stay here? It seems pretty good. Is where the story leaves off. And it's fine. A lot of this is running after each other and trying to kill people and real good Bermejo art. But I think it lacks, I almost said girth. It lacks substance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it kind of feels like, and maybe this is just the fact that Madsen Tomlin is a screenwriter, but it kind of has the stink of, oh, this is a script I'm writing, and this is the pitch for it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you want to see what I want to do, here's this whole 3 issue comic that is digestible pretty quickly if you want to see what I want to do.
Storyboards.
Exactly. Yeah, you have a lot of the material there, so it kind of has uh, that feel to it. Yeah. See, even Atomic Count says Vicious Circle will likely get adapted for TV or a movie provided the strike ever gets settled. It'll get settled eventually. But yeah, maybe it's the feeling that it kind of feels created specifically for that is stopping me from fully enjoying it. I just think it'd be better as a trade, personally.
Yeah.
Especially with 7 months in between issues. No wonder I didn't remember this guy's name is Thacker. You know,
Yeah.
just finish it and put it out as a trade. Does the Bermejo art interest you? I know you didn't read it, but like, is Bermejo a draw for you?
Not really.
Hmm.
It's I haven't read the the Brian Azzarello Bermejo stuff. It's I see the talent that's there. I certainly can't deny that, but it's the style of art that really puts me off.
It's almost over rendered.
Yeah.
Like I come from a place where, I mean, I'll talk about him a bit later, but Darwin Cook's one of my favorite artists. Like that's what I
Yeah.
love.
Same.
Chris Somney, Doc Shaner, like that's my type of stuff.
Same. But I look at like the Luthor or the Joker trade covers. And to me, they're just ugly.
If I want something realistic, I'll just look outside.
I'll look in the mirror if I want to see something that ugly.
You see Joker in the mirror? Oof. Yeah,
Listen,
must have your
lately,
Joker moment this week. But yeah, for how I read comics digitally for the price, this is not a pull for me. This is a pass, and it was very clearly a pass for you, Cal.
price alone. I'm
Yeah.
tired of buying these expensive ass books.
48 pages.
That's not. Sorry, that's not worth it.
No, not.
I don't care what dumb Bat Guy movie this guy made. It's not worth it.
Well, you know what was worth the price? Naruto: The Whorl Within the Spiral, because that was just available to read.
Was it?
It was just free.
I guess I have Matt's login, so I guess it was worth it.
Yeah, I don't have a login, and it's just available. So
okay. All right.
A couple of reasons why I wanted to read this. This was a me decision. This was Sean's not here. Let's have some. Let's do something funny. Decision. Naruto is one of the few manga that I've ever read.
Okay, I was gonna ask.
Not fully.
Great.
Never finished it because I started having sex. But and I stopped, so that's why I started reading it again.
That's why we go back in.
But it kind of has like a soft spot for me. I just really like the characters, and Masashi Kishimoto is a master.
Yeah.
And I heard about this. This was actually due to a poll that went out for Naruto fans, where they were asked to poll the best 99 Naruto characters, and the one that won first place would get a one-shot by Masashi Kishimoto, returning to the Naruto world instead of Boruto, which is like the sequel stuff. And Minato Namikaze, also known as Naruto's dad, and the fourth Hokage, yes, the fourth Hokage, won that poll, and so this is that one shot. What's your question? You look like you got questions here.
So okay, so this is Naruto's dad,
Mm-hmm.
and Naruto is the father of Boruto.
Correct.
See, I was waiting for Boruto to show up.
No Boruto. He's not born yet.
So I was like, okay, this is sort of tangential.
I mean,
so I was also so not only did I not know what's going on, it was in a completely different era entirely.
Yeah.
Than what I thought it was.
Very much so. Yeah.
Cool.
But this is a lot. This is almost a slice of life book. With ninja and jutsus and stuff. This is really kind of just like a love story between Naruto's parents. Um, it's a little backstory on Naruto's mom and how she deals with the Nine Tails, not being infected, but kind of uh, that whole thing, being a part of her, and people are kind of scared of her, and she's kind of stuck in this in her home, and it deals with Naruto's dad coming up with the Rasengan, special jutsu that Naruto knows. Um, all in all, I could give two shits about the story. It's you know, it's just the same. It's just Naruto is all about never give up, and that's what this story is a bit. Um, Kind of persevere, keep persevering. You could do it, whether that's creating a new special move to use, or just persevering in the crush you have with some dude. I was just here for the art. I love Kishimoto. It's good stuff.
Yeah, the art is incredible. I really, really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the uh the Nine Tails monster. I got especially when it becomes Kushina.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cool. But then it turns into the black thing,
Yeah,
I
like
guess.
a almost like a mini kaiju.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it stabs Minato,
Yep, you're doing it. You got it.
and then and like clean through too, right? Like,
Only a flesh wound.
yeah, literally the next page, he doesn't have a hole in him,
No, why would he?
and the black thing is the white nine-tailed fox again.
Yeah. Uh-huh. You got it.
So what?
Yeah, you got it. You did it.
Uh, what? What?
I think that's manga for you right there. Like at the end of that movie with Jack Nicholson, and he goes, it's Chinatown. That's manga. um,
Yeah. I guess my point is I don't totally get what happened.
I don't. I think he used his other hand to reseal the Nine Tails inside of her. Then she was good. He still gets a little fucked up, but flesh wound, he'll be fine.
Yeah,
He needs to
he's super
he needs to
ninja or
blow a
whatever.
load so that Naruto can come about. Um, so we didn't get that scene, that's for sure. But I thought it was a cool story. I mean, my favorite character is Kakashi, so I kind of would prefer to a Kakashi one shot, but can't have everything.
The other trouble I had with this is I wasn't ever really sure who this story was about,
Fair,
because it starts off
fair.
following Minato, but he's sort of in like a ninja platoon or whatever, a ninja
Yeah.
squad, a teenage mutant ninja squad.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then the story shifts to Kushina, who very clearly has important things going on, and frankly, more interesting things. But then it kind of keeps going back and forth.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I was never really sure who I was anchored to. And then the fact that you just told me that this was based on a poll where the guy was very specifically who this story was supposed to be about, I'm lost.
And I don't even think his mom was even in the top 22 of that poll. So it is a lot to deal with Naruto's mom in this too. That whole thing. I mean, maybe that's just the story he wanted to tell. It's like, all right, the prompt is Minato. What story I
Yeah.
want to tell? Origin story of their relationship and the Rasengan. Sure, I guess.
And that's probably fine,
Yeah.
I guess. And maybe my whole problem with this really boils down to it didn't feel like a one shot to me.
Yeah,
And that is probably most definitely because I don't have any experience with Naruto,
sure. Yeah,
but this felt very in universe, baked in regular chapter of the Naruto manga somewhere down the
like
line.
a filler issue,
If that,
flashback filler issue. Sure,
yeah.
sure.
Uh so I like for a one shot you would think that there would be more to hang your hat on,
That's
because
fair.
you would
Yeah.
want newer readers.
Yeah, and then you could also just say, oh, it's manga. Maybe their interpretation of a one shot's completely different over there. Um, sure, but we
Man,
talk
I
about
don't
comic book.
know.
We talk about Western comic books in the show, so that's what we gotta
Yeah.
how we gotta compare it. Um,
Uh I know, Matt, I know you're listening. You better get in here. I'm interested to hear what you thought of it because you also wanted to
yeah,
you wanted us to talk about it. So please speak up.
if he kind of bounces in and out sometimes. So.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's I mean it's a poll. It's free. Why not? If you want to check it out. I will say it does take some knowledge. It's not a typical one shot where you can kind of just jump into it. Like I had to explain a lot before we talked about it.
Yeah.
Um,
I I think given that it's a Naruto, I'm a pass really just because I haven't read
yeah,
any Naruto, so I don't.
I would like more one shots in like these well known manga universes that maybe I can just hop in and out of, you know,
Yeah.
so I don't have to read 1,000 issues of One Piece.
I mean, it's not like it takes. It probably takes as
Oh,
long
it's actually a
for you
thousand
to read.
episodes of One Piece. There's probably more
Yeah,
for.
it probably takes as long for you to read 1,000 episodes of One Piece as much as an issue of Immortal X-Men. It's the
That is.
same length of time.
It's true. That's true. It's a different time suck. Matt is here. He said he loved it. Thought it was fun. Astute.
Great.
Not like this dude did a comic book review show and can maybe add some more nuance to that discussion, but it's fine.
Hey, listen, that's what we asked for.
It's fair.
And
That's
I've
what you
heard
asked
you
for. Yeah.
review stuff. That's what you boil it down to too. So
Especially if I don't like it. I said Kishimoto hasn't done interiors in years, so it was wonderful. Yeah, so
right,
that's why I
yeah,
wanted to put it on.
yeah. The art was really good, and
Yeah.
actually, I did take a lot from the lettering because I've been doing so much manga lettering. I really tried to pay attention to it, and I thought it was all handled really well.
Add what you see here to your little toolkit.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, you're telling me.
Let's talk about Big Game #1 by Mark Millar, Pepe Larraz, with colors by Giovanna Nero and letters by Clem Robbins. So, this might be surprising. This is my pick of the week. And I did not want it to be at all. Mark Millar as a person is like a capitalist superhero. He is all about money and like numbers and open about it too. But couldn't help but like this issue. I think the Pepe Larraz art had a lot to do with it. But I'm a sucker for a book where I can pick out Easter eggs. I love picking out Easter eggs. Like, oh, that guy's from this book. This guy's from that book. Oh, they reference that book that I haven't even read yet, but I recognize the characters. Millar over the years, last 2 decades, I guess at this point, if we're going back to Wanted, whenever Wanted came out, because this is essentially the sequel to Wanted, has created this giant universe that has never really been expressly stated as one universe
Connected, yeah.
until I think it was Nemesis Reloaded, which was the prequel to this.
Last week, so it never confirmed until last week.
Essentially,
Yeah.
And this kind of the idea of Wanted. If you never read Wanted and you only watch the movie, the comic's very different in that it's not a League of Super Assassins, but a League of Super Villains. And they kind of wipe out all of the heroes, and then Miller's universe kind of fills in there. So this is taking, Jupiter's Legacy stuff. It's taking Nemesis. Kick-Ass shows up in this, and I thought it was a really cool scene. Um, the Starlight, the guy from Starlight shows up in here too.
Yeah.
I just I love a book where I can be like, oh, look, it's this guy, and it's kind of rewarding me for the work of reading Millar for a decade plus on his creator-owned stuff. And then you give me Pepe Larraz art. Even though he kind of hits a lot of the same, this is kind of a Pepe Larraz greatest hits, with the way shots are lined up. A lot of the I picked out a page here of a couple of, there's a supervillain superhero fight. But he loves that, arm extended kind of flying in the air pose from behind. It's very much Captain Krakoa.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic
It's
superhero
classic
stuff, man.
But yeah, I thought this was fun. I know last week we talked about, like, you still reading Ambassadors? No. They feature prominently in this.
Yeah, they do. You're right.
I think what's Marge holding the potato? I think it's kind of neat.
I think it's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're into Mark Millar and what he's doing, then you'll like this.
Oh, I'm not into Mark Millar as a person. I'm sorry.
Well, that's not what you're saying to me.
No, I don't really care much for him. Dude was on some other guy's podcast. No, I'm not being salty because he's not on our show, but like the other guy's podcast is like, oh, MCU strikes again. Barbie is feminist propaganda. But like Millar is probably only on that show because he sees, YouTube sub numbers that are really high.
I mean, that's why he signed a deal, getting himself trapped at Netflix.
It's true. So. Millar is like a sentient Twitter algorithm.
Yeah. This to me felt like the beginning of an action movie.
Sure.
And I think it pulls that off really well. So Millar obviously has the talent. But I can't get into this.
No.
I just can't. I don't care about a bad guy league coming in to kill all the superheroes. I don't know. It's weird to say that it feels like that's every other book, because very obviously not. We haven't had anything like that in a while. Sure. This even feels like almost a return to a dark age.
When you say dark age, I think of Astro City Dark Ages, which kind of similar.
Worse than that. Way worse than that.
I mean, bringing up Astro City, like I don't think of anyone else who's created a quite a coherent universe. For superheroes.
Is this a coherent universe? He, like you said, he only said it was connected last week. Like,
sure,
just because you say it's all connected doesn't make it coherent at all.
I thought that even though it was within the last year, I don't think it was last week, but within the last year, it was announced that this is all connected universe, and they're combining for this big game thing. I think it was like October. It might have been a New York Comic Con announcement of last year, but I think the pieces fit well together. He had the guy from Prodigy showing up in here, trying to put all the pieces together in his head. Kick-Ass is useless, trying to figure out where he lives. You don't like Kick-Ass, do you?
I really don't like Kick-Ass. No. Yeah, we know all the Easter eggs are there. That's what this felt like. This felt like a roundup of all Mark Millar's characters, and they're gonna get together and kick ass. The highlight here really, really is the Pepe Larraz art. Because even getting through the dialogue and the setup of everything, the visual storytelling is incredible. There's specifically the page, and I have no idea who these characters are, but they're standing over like the pile of bones and it's just before we meet the embassy again. But the character says, "Come with me, and I'll fill in all the blanks." And then as you go down, the blanks that they're referencing are very clearly all the skeletons that are in the bottom of the page and in whatever pit they're in. That's good storytelling. That was good. That was cool. Um, man, it's a mixed bag. Is what I can say about it.
That's fair, and I'm a little afraid. Like for a Millar book in 2023, I don't think this is as edgelordy as his stuff. Nobody's cursing every other word. There isn't total graphic violence, like gratuitous violence, I guess. But it's only the first issue, so we'll see.
I I think the violence and everything will come, and that will be the thing that that is gratuitous. That'll be the thing that's the edge lordy bit.
Atomic Hound just said, I just realized I need to add Millar to the overrated writer list on the Discord. You guys are just flaming writers on the Discord today. I think Matt said Morrison's overrated. Get the out of here. Did you keep up with that discussion? Check us out on Discord, guys. If you want to join in on the fun, join the Discord.
Yeah, I did. Who did I say was overrated?
I didn't add my 2 cents to that. I did not add my 2 cents. I did. Yeah. Matt said Jeff Parker underrated. I agree.
Yeah, Jeff Parker's really good. Yeah, this is a pass for me. It's a Millar superhero book. I'm out.
Here's the thing. I read a lot of Millar number 1s. I don't read a lot of Millar number 2s.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. Millar usually can hook me with an artist. And hook me with an artist to at least try out the first issue.
Yeah.
Story lately hasn't gotten me to keep up with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
I bet we'll follow this for a bit, because it's an event.
Sure.
I don't want to.
Half the show isn't here, so let's see if they even read it.
Yeah.
It might get lost in the shuffle.
Oh God, I hope so. I just and we had a conversation about this. About how whether to lead with this or Blade. And I said Blade because there's no heat here.
So I actually use leagueofcomicgeeks.com. Great site to get the cover images for the stream. Sometimes they'll have previews in there that I can take, some interior panels from. But their new comics is ranked by the amount of people pulling the book on their website. You can make your own pull list too. So you can know what you're going to get every week. Blade's pretty high up. This is pretty low down the list. Static Shock has more pulls than this one. I Hate Fairyland has more pulls than this. So if that's any indication, there might not be heat on this. Maybe calling it Big Game and not Wanted 2 is a bad idea.
It's the same Millar stuff. It's Jupiter's Legacy. It's Nemesis. It's Kick-Ass. It's the Embassy or the Ambassadors or whatever the hell that title is. But now all he's done is crumple it all together.
We'll see. The book that got pulled the most on this website this week is actually World's Finest, number 17. That is, if you guys aren't reading that, that's a fantastic book. I love that book.
It's the world's finest.
It might be. But speaking of creator-owned, not multiverse, but I guess universes of characters, for our last book we checked out Void Rivals, number 2. This one is by Robert Kirkman with writing, art by Lorenzo De Felici, colors by Matt Lopez, and letters by Russ Wooten. The first issue was notorious for kind of revealing that Image Comics has the rights for Transformers, and I guess tangentially G.I. Joe, even though that wasn't in the book. And that this book will be part of that universe, the G.I. Joe Transformers universe. Yeah. And I think we generally, all of us, liked the issue, from what I remember.
I feel like you and I actually really, really enjoyed the first issue.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I did too.
This not so much.
Yeah, yeah,
This really felt like, all right, our gimmick is out of the way. Let's info dump now because this is a sci-fi book. You got to info dump in a sci-fi book.
yeah.
You know, I think of like the opening to the most recent Dune movie. You know, that thing is a giant info dump at the beginning. Um, Guys, just because it's sci-fi, you don't need to do this because that is half this book, and the second half is just issue one. You know what I mean? Like, um,
Hmm.
the info dump, it looked nice. I do like the Lorenzo De Felici art. I think it's good.
Right? Yeah.
Um,
Love his characters.
yeah,
The figure work.
draws a mean space.
Mhm.
But because it's all info dump, I don't get time with these characters really. I don't. Even by the end of issue two, I don't really know if I have a total grasp on the voice for everyone, or I guess the two main characters, just yet. I think we get a little bit of stuff with the I guess our main character's dad, um,
Hates him. Yeah.
Derek's dad, who I
Yeah.
guess is the king or something. So
Good grief.
some wrinkles in the story there. But this is a little too heady for me. I kind of got bored, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it was kind of a sad departure. Um, it's it picked up again once they got off the planet. But that's the end of the book.
Yeah, that's
And
you get two
then
two pages after that. Yeah,
yeah, and then you get sort of another surprise, but I don't know what this is.
I don't think it's anything that's known. It's just like, all right, we're
Yeah,
bounty hunters, which space
yeah,
bounty hunters. I love a space bounty hunter.
sure. Who
Um,
doesn't?
idiots, idiots don't. But I want like what I want. Like I don't care about global conflict. Like sure, there's two warring races that are almost identical. Like you could tell that pretty quickly. It's an easy thing to understand.
Well, and I feel like they did.
Except it was half the book.
Well, I mean, in issue one, I
Oh,
feel like
fair. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they sold that really, really well.
I would have
I
just
don't,
preferred a continuation of that.
yeah, I don't know why we needed that first half of this book. Like
Yeah.
it shows us who Derek is, but why?
I think it's a crutch. I think it is
Yeah, it's
using
gotta
a
be.
sci-fi trope as a crutch to tell your story. I think just going forward with the story. No flashbacks, don't explain all this. Like have the characters explain it by actions and what they do and what they decide to do and their decisions and the character interactions. Like I
Yeah.
don't need a history book at the beginning of this. Like don't hold my hand with this. And Kirkman's a writer who's, a veteran at this point. I don't think he needs this. This feels
Yeah.
like maybe his first sci-fi book.
Yeah.
In the terms of like how it decides to tell the story. I think the story is told fine. It looks really good. Fucking
Mhm.
donut planets, cool as hell, with
Yeah.
black holes
I'll
in
eat
them.
it.
Yeah, you big donut guy?
Love
Oh, I
donuts.
love a
Oh
donut.
man.
Yeah.
My favorite donuts, the only good donuts on the planet. And I'm comfortable saying that because I've been a good way across the planet, are in my hometown.
Really? Are they
Oh,
cake
good
or are they fried?
cake.
Oh, I'm not a cake donut guy. I'm a
But
fried
it's
donut
not
guy.
like, well, maybe they're fried then. I don't know how they make them. But they're good, thick, like they're thick, but they're like light and doughy. And it's not like a Dunkin' Donut, like corporate donut.
Yeah,
This is like good local donut. Oh,
yeah. Now I'm craving it. So probably gonna grab some donuts after this. Yeah. I mean, I'm still on the hook for the book. I
yeah.
want to like this. I like the characters, and I want to know more about them. Um,
And even in the 10 pages that I enjoyed here, I really enjoyed it. Like
yeah, me too.
I'm invested in this relationship and their escape, and even the war and everything that's going on is really, really interesting. I just didn't need the whole history.
Yeah, that kind of that turned me off on it. But there's a part of me that's like, all right, we got it out of the way. We got the
I
Transformers out of the way the
guess.
first issue. We got this out of the way here. Let's go. Let's do it.
I don't know. We're probably gonna get her side of the story in the
We're
next
gonna
one.
get the introduction of Duke and Cobra somewhere in here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I think introducing Transformers in the first one, like I get it. It was a cool little fun thing to do. Um, but now I'm waiting for it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
Yep.
Chekhov's Autobot. Like you showed it first. Where is it going to show up later? So it's fine. It's fine. I will be continuing this though, and even though I might have been a little harsh on it, still a pull. I did like this.
Still a pull.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it.
So those are the books we're talking about, fellas.
That's it. We did it.
But we got a little thing called Whatcha Reading,
Oh.
which is not just about reading this week, but for me it is. So I was gifted
Oh.
something called the Parker Martini edition.
Oh, Tyler.
Matthew.
I want that so bad.
Yeah, Matt gave me this for my birthday, and it
Oh,
is gorgeous.
man.
It has the Brubaker Phillips Parker story in this too. So I have Sean Phillips art that's this big. It's probably like to scale, honestly.
Yeah.
And it is good looking. I love Darwin Cook. I think he is maybe one of the best modern day artists ever. Or that can't be modern ever. But yeah, and Parker is just good noir shit.
Yeah, and it doesn't get the love it deserves.
No, it's probably because it was never really like it wasn't.
It's not a superhero book.
It wasn't a superhero book when independent books were really like Image wasn't really I mean, it was, but it wasn't like the behemoth of like, oh, independent non superhero stuff. That people know it as. It was like, oh no, that's the other superhero stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Parker's an adaptation, right? It's an adaptation.
I believe so. Yeah, it's I forget. It's in here somewhere, but it is an adaptation of fiction, I believe. It's good though, and it's all monotoned in these blues and grays and whites and blacks. I'm the IDW. Yeah, it's IDW book. Yeah, so that's who published it. So IDW's hardcovers.
Turtles one, man.
It's good.
There's some Turtles hardcovers that have like they're the color of like the hilt of a sword.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they're incredible. I want that collection so bad.
Camera got a little wonky there. Oh well.
I'm very jealous of that. I'm gonna steal it.
I'll show you. I'll tell you where I live. You're gonna have to smooch me for it. Speaking of,
I will if you want.
Speaking of guys at home, man, I don't know how to do the segue game as well as Sean does. Kale, you've been watching something called I don't. Oh God, I got the Japanese cover. What is this called?
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
It's The Way of the House Husband.
Way of the House Husband. Okay.
The second season dropped on Netflix not that long ago, and I enjoy the first season. So it's the elevator pitch for the series is a mob boss retires and decides to just become a house husband. His wife is a business lady, and she goes out and she's girl power, etc. And he just goes and does the things that like a housewife would do. He goes and gets the shopping. He does the laundry. He does the he's part of the homeowners association or whatever. But the thing is, in his head, he's still very much a mob boss. So everything he does is done with this insane intensity that really either puts people off because they're afraid of him, or he gets into like gang fights over things like crepes.
I mean, I understand that. Crepes are
It's
important.
genuinely, it's so funny.
So this is a comedy
Um,
then.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's a comedy sort of slice of life, based on a manga. On Netflix, the episodes are they're broken into like 5-minute chapters. Uh, so an episode will be 4 or 5 chapters. And the animation style is it's very stiff, but it feels like it's translated straight from the manga, which I think is really cool. But the thing that got me to talk about this week is in the last episode I watched, he's doing the ironing and he throws out his back and he acts like, oh my God, they've got me. They finally come for me. It's a sniper. It's a war. It's, et cetera, et cetera. And, his wife is like, oh my God, let me help you. You just threw out your back. And he's like, no, I haven't done the back. And he does the voice actor like, and I watch it with subtitles. So it goes from a really gruff guy to it's
Just starts sounding like
and
Yugi's grandpa. Yeah.
he did the voice and I died. It was so funny. So that alone, highly recommend it.
Yeah, we got people who listen to the show that like anime. So sure. Spiral of Storm says, I love Way of the House Husband. Brilliant stuff.
It's great, man.
I'm anti-anime, so I will not be watching.
The cat is a character in it. So
You might have got me. I might have done it. I'm a simple guy.
hey, listen.
And to end the show, we have a couple of Palace Pulls we want to talk about for next week's show that I may or may not be on. So first one is, for me, Incredible Hulk #2. I really enjoyed Philip Kennedy Johnson and Nick Klein's work on the first issue. So I'm excited to see where this goes. It is probably, they probably did the most, one of the most gross Hulk transformations I've ever seen on paper. Which is saying something because Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk was a thing. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. This kind of has like a horror vibe to this book that I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I also wanted to check out X-Men Hellfire Gala 3, #1.
Yeah, listen. The business in Immortal X-Men gave the Hellfire Gala stakes. So I'm interested. Again, I don't care who ends up on the X-Men team. It's going to change next week anyway. So, but I'm interested to see the way they dissolve the council and how that whole thing is going to work. And I want to see what's going to happen.
One of the interesting things is that Nimrod is on the cover. So,
What'd you call me?
Nimrod. And Juggernaut's on there. I wonder if he won the vote. I wonder if that's why he's on the cover. Kind of a spoiler if you put him on the cover, though.
They did spoil it.
Is it Juggernaut?
Did you not hear about this?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way it worked was.
Wait, hold on. Let me put my spoiler alert sound here.
Maybe we should. Yeah. I think I've already done it though.
Well, I might have done it by assuming.
So yeah. So the way I understood it worked was they said that everyone who's I guess a good guy on the cover would be on the team, and they hid someone behind the X-Men Hellfire Gala label. But then the solicit for the cover came out and it was very clearly Juggernaut.
Man, I think he memed himself into winning that vote.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Like, that's just a meme at this point. So is his
I think you could see that exchange on Twitter. I can't remember if it was Phil Noto or Duggan or but all that happened on Twitter like
someone
last
was like,
week.
oops.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's not I think I voted for Dazzler.
Of course you did.
I love 2 years on a heart. Dazzler, man. I need some Dazzler art. I want the artist of Snot Girl to do a Dazzler commission. That's what I want.
You are you in the camp of Taylor Swift as Dazzler?
Hell no.
Oh, interesting.
She got a long back. I don't care about her.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's your equivalent? Who's
You
your
got
Dazzler? I guess what I would say.
Lady Gaga. Come on. You never see any of the Chromatica Ball stuff? You never watched any of the Chromatica music videos?
No,
Got Krakoa Dazzler all over it.
I don't know.
It's not Taylor Swift. I'm not a Swiftie, and I apologize if that sparks the ire of the Swifties out there, but I don't get it.
I might give it to Kesha. But I don't know
Kesha?
about Gaga.
He was on the most recent Muppet show.
Kesha was?
Yeah, the Muppets Mayhem. Good show.
Good for her.
Actually, very good, very good.
I watched the first 2 episodes. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed
she shows
it,
up
yeah.
eventually. Yeah.
Oh, good for her.
But yeah, not Kesha. But you also had another poll, and that was Ultimate Invasion, a numero dos, next week.
Look, I'm into it. I don't know.
You know, we got Ultimate Magic on there.
Get off my nuts.
Yeah.
I gotta listen.
His Swifty to SEO. Yeah, I'm gonna hashtag Swifty to this one. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll give us the right audience.
Babe Rexa as Dazzler.
BB Rexba. Yeah. She got clocked in the face with a phone, and it's a whole epidemic now of fans throwing stuff at artists. Got hit in the eye, and like the next day, big black eye.
Lauren Mayberry from Churches.
Oh yeah, dude!
Dazzler.
I have a Jamie McKelvey Churches shirt. It's so good. Yeah, I got called out by her on stage once.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I was. It was Star Wars Day, and they were talking about Star Wars during the show. It was May the 4th, and I was wearing my Star Trek shirt very prominently in the crowd, and she called me out for it. So
nice.
Yeah.
And she probably did it the Scottish way too.
A little passive aggressive, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mostly
aggressive.
No, I mean she's soft spoken, but also hard at the same time.
Well, she's from Glasgow, so
yeah, beat the shit out of me easily.
Kick your ass.
Yeah. But yeah, that's our show this week. You can join us on Saturday at 10 a.m.
Oh, that's right. That's right. This week it's 10 a.m. Don't forget.
Be there 15 minutes early. We have to do some behind the scenes stuff, so it's gonna be a little bit of a shorter show probably. May or may not have Marco, but we will be there at 10 a.m. on Saturday to talk the preliminary San Diego Comic-Con news, I guess, right? I mean,
it already seems like we have stuff to talk about.
It almost seems like the Comic-Con news, they just dumped it all.
Yeah.
And they're going to talk about it in individual panels. Like all the press is out there already. So we'll see. But yeah, that's 10 a.m. Normally it's 10:15, but it'll be 10 a.m. this Saturday. So we'll see you there. If you had to wake up earlier for that, sorry, not sorry. We do too. But I'll see you there. No, you're done. You're coasting.
Yeah.
But yeah. Otherwise, that's our show. We will see you Saturday, and then we'll see you next week to talk about some pretty big books, honestly. Ultimate Invasion and Hellfire Gala. So you can almost guarantee those will be on there. But yeah. See you next week, guys. You can say it. You got to say it for my editing.
What? You already said it.
I know, but I need to hear you say it.
Goodbye.
No, the next week thing.
The next.